Hello, and welcome to the SPL Network headquarters. My name is Darth Taxil. It's going to be a fun one here today. There's a lot of mystery on the board. There's a lot of allusion to the facts that we might partake in here tonight. There's going to be a lot of decisions made from each of these GMs on the board. Just going over what we did the last few nights. Yesterday, we found ourselves in the draft lottery where we determined the draft order you see behind me. First overall went to the Brooklyn Bandits and M-Dubs. Second is the Pennsylvania Ballpeen Hammers with Cherries. Pittsburgh Vipers are drafting third with Eli. Napoleon Neapolitan's general manager Archie Klumper is not here tonight. He has a project going on. He's not in the house. He's not around to make his draft selection in VC, so he has elected Noah to do so in his stead. So we'll be hearing from Noah to draft the fourth overall pick during this draft from the Neapolitans. Then in the fifth spot, we got the Toronto Templars, GM'd by Spinach. I think Toronto has 5 teams here this season, including this one. 6 if you count their minor league affiliate, the Toronto Partitions, I think is how you pronounce it, if I'm remembering correctly as well. But either way, 6th place is the GTA Turtles, the Greater Toronto Area Turtles. Noxu is the GM there. 7th overall is the New England Harbor with Reno. And then 8th overall, the last pick of the first round, will be the Cowtown Guppies with Az. There's been a lot of question on the GM selection. Out of everybody that signed up, staff got together. We picked out the best for the lot. Whether that remains a consistent statement will be up for debate after this draft has concluded. But each team, for instance, we will take the Brooklyn Bandits. Here are their overall draft positions. They will draft 1, and then after the snake goes through the second round, they have the last pick of the second round, following into the first pick of round 3. And that'll end off their starting lineup for the major roster. The next 3 picks, that's why there's a bit of a gap there in the middle, are their minor league starters. The 32nd, 33rd, and the 48th pick for the Brooklyn Bandits will determine who their starters are down in the minor league. There is a 7th spot for tomorrow for the captains and the general managers to decide upon who they're going to be picking up off the free agency. Only the people that are eligible for this draft will be in the free agency pool for the rest of season 14. And so they got a lot to debate after tonight's over. You're still not done being a GM after tonight is over. And they're going to be feeling the full brunt of that as the season presses onwards. All the decisions they have to make in the front office will affect lives in the Slapshot Premier League. Anybody that's not picked remains in the free agency pool. They can still play outside the pro major and the pro minor divisions in the East region. But I think it encapsulates everything. It's a snake draft. Everybody gets this order, and the next round, it'll be the opposite. So Brooklyn Bandits getting the last pick, Cowtown Guppies getting the first pick of round 2. I think it's going to shape up pretty well. We got 48 picks between all these teams. I think we have 102 players on the free agency pool. However this shakes out, I think we're going to have a good season. We have at least 48 solid picks to go through here this draft. And even extending into the 7th men, I have full confidence that even the 7th men on the projected draft could play at a pro division level. I could be wrong, though. I'm just the commentator. But my speculation still stands. There's a lot of picks on the board here for this draft that I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. Never mind. I just remember that the GMs could be watching this, and I'm not about to give them insider information that they shouldn't know about, which are just my thoughts. There's really nothing to pull back the curtain on here. But yeah, after the first 3 rounds have concluded, we'll run an ad break just to make sure Twitch doesn't, get rid of any of the action for us. So we'll take about a 3-minute break in between the 3rd and the 4th round, just to let the GMs a little bit more time to figure out who their 4th through 6th round picks will be. Go over the board, assess it a little bit, and Twitch is also happy. Jeff Bezos coming in with his greedy wallet once again here this afternoon. But yeah, it's just me up here in the booth today, getting to watch it over, getting to glance into what is going to be a historic night for the Slapshot Premier League. This is the first time since 2019, I want to say, that there has been a draft major league in North America. It has been a very long time. It's even been a long time since SPL has run draft tournaments. I can't remember if it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago that Noxu was putting together the draft tournaments with the help of a few helping hands from staff, of course. But it has been a hot second since anybody in the current player pool has seen a draft format at this skill level. So I'm excited for the new page to be turned. I'm excited to see what these GMs have in store for us here tonight. But it is 7 o'clock. And so we will pull in our first draft pick. His time starts now. M-Dub, welcome to the stage.
Hello.
The floor is yours.
Well, after much deliberation, I will be taking the player formerly known as Krooks with first overall pick.
All right, there we have it. First overall pick going to Cajun. Cajun going first overall to the Brooklyn Bandits. Big pick, big man in a big way. One of the heaviest sticks to check in the Slapshot Premier League. Going to have a bag to carry here this season for maybe another chip, perhaps. But heading back out to the stage, we'll pull up our second pick of the draft. Welcome to the stage, Cherries.
Oh, hello. I would like to pick Zesh,
All right.
French Canadian himself.
Zesh going second. Big shockers there. Everybody gasps in the crowd. Zesh really proven himself over the last few seasons. Really pulling out his name during the last few seasons as a big three player. He has done a prolific job at honing his skill. He is now the only player on the Pennsylvania Ball-Peen Hammers looking to pull them to greatness, looking to uplift his teammates, and we'll see just what we have up next. But up next, we have Eli from the Pittsburgh Vipers. Welcome to the stage, Eli.
Hello, Darth. I'm taking, formerly known in the streets of New York as Jugs, I'm taking Yager.
Yager going third overall. He is now a Pittsburgh Viper. Thank you for your time, Eli. Good luck on the rest of the draft. But a solid pick. One of the best ones that we have in the Slapshot Premier League. One of the top dogs. He was projected to go third in this draft, and so it's not that big of a surprise. Next up, if Fate is going to continue on in the projected draft, Milk is the next best player. We'll see what happens. But of course, Pittsburgh Vipers picking up a big player, a big name in Pittsburgh. Of course, he did win the chip the last 2 seasons in a row with the Long Island Lightning, so it's not that big of a stretch of an imagination to for Eli to take what is a solid goal scorer by no means necessary. Second to none, except maybe Milk. But moving on into the draft. Up next, we have, welcome to the stage, Noah for the Napoleon Neapolitans.
What's going on? Got probably the least surprising pick of the draft here. It's going to be Meow.
All right. Solid pick. Thank you for your time, Noah. Now going fourth overall to the Napoleon Neapolitans. Some people in the crowd, I see the gasp, I see the exasperation on the faces. Yeah, Meow is a solid goaltender, one of the best goaltenders we've had since from the a time long forgotten. Whenever goaltenders roamed the earth, he knows how to stop the puck better than most, and hopefully we get to see more of that coming up into the season. But so far, if you're just tuning in, Zesh going second overall to the Pennsylvania Ball-Peen Hammers. Third pick going to the Pittsburgh Vipers. Eli picked Yager, and then fourth for the Napoleon Neapolitans, Archie Klumper. Busy tonight, elected Noah to announce his pick, which was Meow. Everyone's starting out with threes for the most part, except for Yager. And we'll see if that continues on as Spinach is to take to the stage. Welcome to the stage, Spinach.
Hey. With my pick, I am gonna go with Milk.
Good selection. Solid player. I like the chutzpah there. Good luck on the rest of the draft. Thank you for your time. Spinach taking a big name, taking a huge name off the board here. Fourth, projected to be the 4th overall pick, dropping to the 5th. He's going to be a solid player. That's a good foundation for any player. Milk has the silkiest hands in the Slapshot Premier League. I don't say that with any amount of doubt in my mind. He's all a well-rounded player. Can play the 1 to 2. Might try the 3 out here this season, depending on how the picks go. But either way, Milk, one of the best players in the Slapshot Premier League, has contentions to be the GOAT. As we see here, Toronto will not have another pick until the 12th, and then the 21st pick for their starters in the Pro Major division. And so we'll see how the cookie crumbles, so to speak, as the draft continues onward. But coming up next for the GTA Turtles, the Grand Toronto Area Turtles, Noxu. Been mulling this one over for days. He's been studying the sheet. He's been studying the playbook. We'll see what he's got for us. Welcome to the stage, Noxu.
Hi. With my pick, I'm thinking I'm going to go with former Turtle Blue.
Solid pick. Well-rounded player. Good stuff. Best of luck from 2nd round onward, Noxu.
Thank you.
Blue going 6th overall. I can almost count. I can count to 5, but not 6. Blue going pretty early. There's only a few players left on this board to really mull over and debate. Kyler, someone, Panarin. I think Blue is a solid pick. I don't think that was a bad pick whatsoever. I think he had a lot of time to think about it, a lot of time to go over the playbook, go over the sheet. And Blue's going to be a big acquisition there for the boys in blue going forward into this season. But now we have the New England Harbor, Reno, coming to the stage. Welcome to the stage, Reno.
Pleasure to be here. I will be eating my clock here, conversing with my front staff.
Understandable. Take your time. On the board right now, still remaining, Kyler, someone, Panarin, Hex, Kotor, Chris LOL, all on the board right now. Reno has one of the hardest picks in the draft, the 7th pick. The weeds start to get a little bit thinned out during the first round, and so it makes this pick that much more difficult. The 7th and 8th position, one of the least sought-after positions in the draft. And so taking a little bit of extra time, I respect it. I respect it.
All right. With the 7th pick, the inaugural 2024 SPL draft, New England will be taking Panarin.
Panarin. Good pick. Solid 3 with the all-time GOATs. I wish you best of luck from 2nd round onward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
7th pick, Panarin. Panarin, solid pick. You want to lock up your 3s. You want to get those sorted out first and foremost. And with the lack of 3s in the first round, can only be considered that there's a few names that aren't 3s, but that's because they're the best. They're a notch above the rest of the 1s and the 2s. And so Panarin going 7th overall to the New England Harbor. Solid pick, solid choice. Love to see it. And, yeah, there's only one pick left in the first round, the Cowtown Guppies. Az, how are you doing today? Welcome to the stage.
Oh, hello? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, we already have a bed made in the clubhouse for somebody. Cowtown organization is ready to bring home, we'll just go ahead and take Hex off the board.
Solidifying the Hex pick. Good choice. Best of luck with the rest of the
So-
draft.
Thank you.
Cowtown Guppies picking up Hex, longtime native to the Cowtown organization. Huge offensive talent on the output. Kyler, someone, both projected to go first round, falling into the second. Only time will tell how far down into the draft they will fall. I don't think it'll be much longer into the second round that we'll see either of those players find themselves a home. But going over the first round results quickly here. First overall, going to the Brooklyn Bandits is Cajun. Second there for the PA Ballpeen Hammers is Zesh. Yager third. Meow fourth. Filling out the 8th spot. Milk there going to the Toronto Templars. Blue to the GTA Turtles. Panarin 7th going to the New England Harbor with Reno. And then Hex to the Cowtown Guppies for pick number 8. Starting next round, Cowtown Guppies get the first pick. We'll move on into the tech space. Here on out for the draft, the GMs will simply just put in a text box what their drafts will be. We're not looking to be here till 8:30 tonight. Looking to get in, get out, get good, and get going. But a lot of talent left on the board. KOTOR, Chris LOL, Bay, Kyler, and someone still on the board to pick here for this next draft pick for the Cowtown Guppies. As has a lot on his plate, the success of these franchises are just built upon what these GMs are able to do. But the 9th pick, a hard one to decide, a hard one to figure out. As we await the pick, there's a lot on the table. Each pick does have a 60-second timer, and so it is ticking. But to go over the first round once again. A lot of big names going in the first round, a few falling by the wayside. I feel like Laugh Track's a big pick here in the second round. I feel like if he's slept upon going into the third round, that's a huge steal for any team that can pick up Laugh. Same with like Buff or Grady. I feel like they're undervalued from everybody's mock draft, putting their X rank down into almost a third round. But when you have like Kyler and someone up there on the board, KOTOR, Chris, Bay, a lot of big talented players, a lot of great pro players with a lot of history to their names. It's hard to make one decision. But going 9th overall to the Cowtown Guppies. The one, the only, the multi-time Cup winner, long-time Miami Vice member, and long-time Plymouth Plague captain. It is Kyler. Kyler, congratulations, going 9th overall, first in the second round. He's got a former teammate on this team. There's already going to be chemistry here on the lineup. There's already going to be a little bit more a step on their opponents with this type of pick. I feel like Az really hit the mark on this one. Where you have players that enjoy playing together, they will pub more together, they'll pug more together, and they'll develop better as a team as a whole. And Az had a great pick here. Absolute solid. Coming up next for team that drafted in the 7th position, it's Reno's pick yet again. Having Panarin already on the board as a start. He can now just reach out his feelers. He can pick a 1, he can pick a 2, he can pick another 3 if he wants to. It really is up to him. It's his story to tell, as the Sea of Thieves devs once said. There's so many possibilities. Do you want to pick an older guy that has played with Panarin? Do you want to pick a newer guy that could possibly be, you know, developed with the mentality of Panarin? You want somebody hard-headed that is in their ways, but they're solid as a player? You want somebody that's soft and moldable? There's a lot on the board. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to figure out here for Reno. But after this pick's over for Reno, he doesn't have another one until the 23rd pick, which is a handsome ways away. So after this pick, he has 13 more picks to wait until he can select who his third and final player will be. So this one has to be solid. This is going to make or break the New England Harbor here tonight. So far, everybody's had solid picks. I don't think there's been, like, one that made me, you know, pull out the Tim Allen, huh? There might have been one, but we won't talk about that. Reno right now on the clock here for the New England Harbor. There's another 30 seconds to make his selection. So, going 10th overall in the Season 14 Pro Draft. Joining Panarin on the New England Harbor is Bay. Congratulations, Bay. 10th overall pick. High pick. Love to see it. I think this team is a solid shot. I feel like with Panarin manning the helm, Bay doing the goal scoring. I've played a few games with Bay, maybe years ago, but he's developed so much more since that time with me on the ice. Great player. We'll see how the season pans out. You see what I did there? Panarin, pan. Yeah, whatever. At least my grandma thinks I'm funny. But drafting next is from the GTA Turtles, Noxu. Current roster on the board. First round pick was blue. And Noxu will be picking a person. We'll be picking a player. I feel like from the projected draft, this player has slipped down through the cracks a little bit. Noxu looking to capitalize upon it. Someone going to the GTA Turtles with blue. Going to be an interesting lineup whenever it comes down to playing the games on the ice. The dynamic between these two teams. As long as they can get their passing game down, I think these two could go really far and carry this, whoever the third pick might be, if they're good or bad. I feel like these two players could carry them through at least to the second round of the playoffs. Of course, that third pick is going to be a difference maker out there on the ice and is going to be what really forges the GTA Turtles and, you know, puts that little cherry on top of this cake that Nox is building here tonight. But up next, the 5th overall pick going Milk's way for the Toronto Templars now sits with a 12th pick in their lap. KOTOR, Chris LOL, Crusade, Spills, Laugh Track, I Am Forehead, Meekers still on the board. This 12th pick, sitting comfy. I feel like this is a really nice spot to be in because you have a lot of you already have a top goal scorer, one of the top goal scorers in SPL history on your roster. How could you possibly go wrong? If you have any like Challenger 3, I feel like this team could go far. Just under the guidance and direction of Milk, there's not a lot that can go wrong. But for the second round pick for the Toronto Templars, going 12th overall. My dyslexia is really catching up to me. The man, the myth, the wizard, Spills, going 12th in the draft. He's now a Toronto Templar here for this season, doing God's work down there on the ice, looking to continue that into the regular season. And so, now, we turn our direction towards the Napoli Neapolitans. First pick was Meow. They now have the 13th pick. A lot of big names still left on the board. KOTOR, Chris, Crusade. But those in the know-how, I feel like they know how this draft pick is going to go. I feel like they have a hunch in their back, an idea of the route this one might take, and they might be right. They might not be. The draft pick has come in, going 13th overall, and the 5th pick in the second round for the Napoleon Neapolitans. The one, the only, the Batman of SPL. It's Noah. Now Noah, Napoleon looking to go with the same roster they did last time. They might be able to do it. They might be able to pull it off. Only time will tell, though. If they can muster it up, more power to them. They believe they could take out SPL and its most even. I wish them the best of luck. Coming up next for the third to last pick in the second round, the 14th overall, belongs to the Pittsburgh Vipers. Eli, mulling this one over, thinking about it for a little bit. I was talking to him earlier today. Eli has been looking at this draft sheet since 11 a.m., just mulling over what his possible options are, how he can bring the Pittsburgh Vipers to glory. And there's so much talent left on this board. There's so many great second-round picks. Even pulling up from what was projected as the third-round picks, half those names could be picked right here, right now, and it would be solid. The first 8 through 9 picks, 8 or 9 picks, all of those players are pretty close to each other in skill level. It really just comes down to personality. Who's going to mesh with who? The GMs are taking that into account. At least, most of them are. I think all but one so far has taken into account the dynamic and personalities out there on the ice. And so I have no doubt in my mind that Eli also is thinking about this as he's looking at a second-round pick. There's a lot of talent left on the board. And the pick is in. Eli, in the second round of the Pittsburgh Vipers, 14th overall in the Season 14 draft. A long time Astoria Hellhound member, KOTOR, going second round to the Pittsburgh Vipers. Going to be looking to play a little bit more towards his original stance. I think that Eli is hoping for a bit more of a defensive role out of KOTOR, letting Yager just roam free in the O-zone. Really going to be giving him a shout here for his defensive efforts out there on the ice. Whenever D-Bon would leave the net for the Stars or the Hellhounds, KOTOR would come back and play that 3 position. So KOTOR does have the defensive experience needed to be our rock, a foundation of a team. And Eli sees that, recognizes it, and says, all right, we're taking you 14th overall. Great pick by Eli. Coming up next for our second to last pick here in the second round, 15th overall, belongs to the Pennsylvania Ballpeen Hammers. Cherries is on the clock. With Zesh already on the board, Chris Illowell would be the next highest projected draft pick. I don't think he's going to be taking Chris here. He wants a goal scorer. He already has one of the best threes in the Slapshot Premier League. He does not really need another one until we get down to his 4th, maybe 5th round pick. So Crusade looking very likely. Laugh Track looking very likely. I am 4 ahead, right up there with the best of them. But, he could take a shot in the dark. He could go down an entire notch, take up Will. Will's been a solid goal scorer for the last season in the Pro Division with the Napoleon Neapolitans. One of the, I think he won Rookie of the Season, if I'm not mistaken. But Will being pulled at this point, I think it would be a solid pick. But whether or not people agree with me on that is up for debate in lobby chat later. But if you're looking for a goal scorer, Laugh Track plays the full 200 foot of ice beautifully. Same with Crusade. Crusade's not notoriously a 3. I think Crusade would probably be one of the better picks here tonight. He does play mouse and keyboard, but he does have double my hours casted playing the game itself. So he knows how it's going, how it's rolling. But for the 15th pick of the Season 14 draft, going second round to the Pennsylvania Ballpeen Hammers. A lot of offensive talent on the board. Cherries knows who's best for Zesh, and he picks the one, the only, the former Coda Cook star himself, I Am Forehead, to do the goal scoring for the Pennsylvania Ballpeen Hammers. A solid second round pick. Only one remains here for our second round. Coming in at pick 16 for M-Dub to decide. But for the Brooklyn Bandits right now, they're seeing those picks in the past. They're thinking, all right, what do we do now? There's a lot of threes off the board. There's still a lot of threes on the board. Every team looking to up themselves. Here in the second round, it's been a lot of strange picks. I feel like some of these are a little bit of a question mark for me, at least. But after the first round going by, everybody getting kind of their defensive efforts put down on paper. You know, Milk and Yager being more of the offensive talents have now a defenseman that could really help them out here. With the Pittsburgh Vipers picking up Kotor and Spills going to the Toronto Templars. There's a lot of freedom here with the first overall pick for the Brooklyn Bandits. They have pick 16. There's a lot of offensive talent out there on the ice. They could double down with another 3 that could play in a 2 position. Most 3s can play any position because the 3 is the most intensive mental game in the Slapshot Premier League, and it's not something that's easily done. Anybody that plays 3 is either a psychopath or they're just that insane. I could never see myself playing 3. But 3s in Slapshot are of the same caliber as goalies in the NHL. You gotta have a little something loose up there to MW is the first person to make me stop talking because of his pick. I'm baffled. I have been bamboozled. This wasn't even like a conceivable thought in my mind, but I'm a paper man. I've been looking at the stat sheet for a while. In 16th overall, the last pick of the second round for the Brooklyn Bandits, putting on the purple sweater for the first time ever. It is the one and only. It's Bolty. Bolty, congratulations. You're now a Brooklyn Bandit. Good luck here at Season 14. Bolty could be a sleeper. He could have something in his back wallet that none of us know about. Only time will tell if Bolty pans out here for the Brooklyn Bandits. With Cajun on the back end, I guarantee you that MW and Cajun right now are in a voice chat talking to each other, figuring out who they want to pick. I would put at least $5 down on that. I'd put the worth of a Big Mac on the table for that statement. Whether or not I'm right, different story. But that is the end of the second round. A lot of solid picks, a lot of gaps in the lineups that have been filled here tonight. Tyler going first in the second round. Then Bay, someone picked up by the Turtles. There's been a lot of solid choices. I don't think anybody's really made a bad decision so far. We won't really know if any of these decisions are a bad choice until we get into the season and we start seeing results and stats on the board. So far, 16 picks into it. The team's looking pretty solid. It's got to be said, got to be noted. And everyone's got 2 players on their roster now to fill the gaps, now to set the final stone in place for their teams. The draft order goes back to normal for this one. Brooklyn Bandits do have the first draft pick for round 3. We'll go back to normal as it was. But right now for the Brooklyn Bandits, taking a look at what they have so far. They have Cajun, a beautiful 3. We have Bolty, which is a really good utility player, can really play anywhere on the ice that he's needed. If his availability really pays out for it, Brooklyn Bandits got a really solid player with that second pick. And to start the third round, they have another one. So even if Bolty wasn't quite what they were expecting for the second round, they have like two picks that are right in the second round and a half. So MW knows if I left somebody on the board here with this second pick, I know I'm going to be getting another pick right after, so nobody can possibly take the guys I have in mind. I just need 2 picks on the board. And with his third pick, his final roster spot for his Major League team, the Brooklyn Bandits, going 7th overall in the first pick in round 3. Putting on the purple sweater, the longtime GOAT Crusade. Been around the league since I was an infant. And he's going to continue on partying on like Wayne here in Season 14. Solid lineup. If they mesh personality-wise, I think this is going to be a solid playoff team. And they're going to be putting a lot of pucks in the back of the net with this type of offensive talent. If Bolte can get the puck to Crusade, that's the win condition. Cajun is going to play slap shot like Cajun does. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind. He's going to be a solid slap shot player as a 3 here for the Brooklyn Bandits. And if he doesn't play 3, that's missed out talent. But that solidifies the Brooklyn Bandits pro major roster, their starting lineup. But next, it is the Pennsylvania Ball-Peen Hammers. It is Cherries with the 18th overall pick. Will it be a personal ties pick? Will it be one made purely off of the ability to play Slapshot? No matter what he picks, both those debates will be had in lobby, maybe even in this chat. But 18th overall, Cherries has selected for the Pennsylvania Ball-Peen Hammers. Final position for their Major League roster. It's Mr. Chef. It's the man cooking it up in the kitchen. It's a J-Man boy. It's a very diverse cast. I think everybody on this roster can and has played 3. I think Cherries has put together a solid starting lineup for the Pennsylvania Ball-Peen Hammers. And I'm very interested to see how they're going to do this season in the Pro Division. They're going to be tested. Their metal's going to be tried by fire every night. This first week, of course, only having 2 games to play as teams kind of get their roster set, figure out their systems, get used to each other. But after that, it's just going to be pow, pow. Will they stand the test of time? Anybody's guess? What happens with the 2 teams? We have 2 teams solidified right now. We got 2 teams with a roster for the Major League. Very, very different vibes from both these completed lists. But both these teams, they got the offensive talent. This one might have a few issues hitting the net, but that's to be determined. That's my hunch. And my hunch is just something for a debate. That's just a personal opinion. Does not matter. Everybody's got at least 2 of those. They're like armpits. Most of the time, they both stink. But pick 3 of the 3rd round, falling in Eli's lap. He's got a solid goal scorer. He's got a decent defenseman. I'm looking at a guy on the list right now. All right, so the remaining talent that is top of the projected boards. Chris LOL, great 3. Laugh Track, great 3. Meekers, Buff, Grady, Charles, most of those guys play 3. Eli has stacked his roster in an effort to make the scoringest team in the division. And with this next pick, he's going to have to bring a save maker in. He's going to have to bring in somebody diverse, somebody that has a bit of talent in the defensive side of the ice. And for the 19th pick of the draft, going 3rd round to the Pittsburgh Vipers, it's the man that cheers for overtime. It's Laugh Track. May fortune have many overtimes for the Pittsburgh Vipers here this season. I think it's a beautiful roster. If I was to pick a team to play on, it's this one. I feel like the vibes in the locker room are going to be immaculate. I feel like the vibes outside the locker room are going to be great. And this just feels like a group of homies hanging out playing Slapshot. I don't know about you guys. That's my takeaway for it. That solidifies the Pittsburgh Vipers lineup. Moving on to the next pick. The Napoli Neapolitans. Archie Klumper here, the GM, not here tonight. Noah is forwarding his message onward to us here in the booth. And so for the 20th overall pick of the Season 14 draft, does anyone want to take any guesses? Cheese Pup knows. Longtime Neapolitan himself. The boys are sticking together here for Season 14. It's Hero going 20th overall here in the 3rd round of the draft. That's right around where he was projected. That one's the first pick that is on the mark. And so, will the Neapolitans stand the test of time of a more even Pro Division? Their story here this season will be a testament to that. Will it be worth keeping together the chemistry that has kept Napoli in the Pro Division for, I think, since Season 4, if I'm not mistaken. That's 10 seasons, including this one. But it's up for debate. It's up for debate. But up next, Spinach. He has two great players. Whether or not they mesh like personality-wise, I'm not entirely sure about. I haven't talked to Spills or Milk in quite some time. They can work with each other. They're men. They're not boys. They're men. They can work with each other if they want to. But right now, doesn't really have a defenseman. Doesn't really have that defensive talent out there on the ice to stop a pick from just, a good passing play from just picking them apart. So with a draft here, I think it has to be a 3. That's just my 2 cents. But the pick is in, going 21st overall. One of the Toronto Templars' inaugural season starters. The defenseman. I think he was a top goaltender. Not last season, but the season before that. Had the best save percentage I've ever seen in the Pro Division. He knows how to stop the puck. Can he stop his opponent? It's Mr. Chris LOL going 21st overall in the 5th round, or the 5th pick in the 3rd round. I think they got a solid chance. I think this is a top 3 team. Between Milk's goal scoring and Chris's save making, it's going to be hard to topple this type of roster. But I'm excited. All these rosters so far, I'm very excited to see play in the division. A quick overview. Here's the Napoleon Neapolitans, Hero, Meow, Noah. Same 3 out there that would have started regularly here this season. Pittsburgh Vipers taking Yogurt, KOTOR, and of course Laugh Track. Got all their bases covered there. Pennsylvania Ballpeen Hammers hitting all their marks for a defensive-based team. All these players have played 3. Might play 3. Chef, a J-Man Boy, being the most offensive talent they have out there on the ice. But between Zesh, I'm for it. Unless Zesh has severe router issues where his connection just does not work, Pennsylvania will make playoffs. We'll take a short ad break. I didn't realize Twitch was this quick on it, but we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to the SPL studio. My name is Darth. We're in the middle of the third round right now. Next up on the clock is Reno for the New England Harbor, picking 23rd overall in the draft. Thank you for tuning in. It's been an interesting night so far. There's been a lot of question marks on the board. There's been a lot of moments for a few of these draft picks. Which ones I'm talking about? You either already know or you can guess. My name is Darth, league admin, broadcaster of the Slapshot Premier League. Yeah. My bad. Next up is the GTA Turtles. Last pick was by Spinach, picking up Chris LOL for the Toronto Templars. And so pick 22. Coming in at a big time here for the boys from Greater Toronto. The last pick to solidify this roster spot. The GTA Turtles, my bad, has already blew in someone. This third pick. Look to put the icing on the cake. He's got a few bench chips. He's got a lot of history in the SPL. He might be a little bit on the looser side when it comes to the lobby chat side of things, but he is dating Rev, so it's C-Man going 22nd overall. Third round to the GTA Turtles, putting on the blue sweater, looking to bring greatness to the team's name here this season. Got a lot of hopes, a lot of high expectations for him out there on the pro ice, and whether he can hang with the big boys is going to be the story here for this season for the Toronto Turtles. And very interested to see what they got for us here this season 14. But the list is whittling down. 2 picks left in the third round. New England Harbor up next with Reno. Already have Pan and Bay on the board. You got your goal scorer, you got your save maker. Now you got a guy to fill in the gaps. There's some great names still left on the board. Meekers, Buff, Charles, Grady, Will the QC. All great goal scorers, great utility players. Especially, I think I'd pick Grady, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But Reno is typing. He stopped typing. Did I affect the draft? Is he listening? We're gonna have to ban him. We gotta get him out of here. All right. If that might be my bad. That might be my bad. It might not be. Reno might just have a prolific mind. He might be thinking great minds thinking alike right now. Grady going 23rd overall here in the third round to the New England Harbor. Going to be a solid pick. I think this is one of the better rosters we've seen so far this draft. They got talent up and down the ice, forwards, backwards, sideways, east to west. They got the passing game to work with. Can they develop into the chemistry needed to really pull off a cup run this season? I'm excited. I'm very excited to see this. But there's only 1 pick left in this third round. 1 pick left for the pro starters, joining Hex and Kyler. Has a tough cookie to crack on this one. You know, with the players out there on the ice, both these players playing more of an offensive role, you need a defenseman. A lot of the great defensemen are gone. A few of the threes that are still around on the list. Buff, a big name, still out there. Charles, Snipes, Slippin' Johnny, Doug, Gubby, Resp, Mace. There's pros and cons with each of these names. Maybe their availability won't work out. Maybe there's going to be a conflict of personalities down there on the ice. Maybe there won't be. And so, for the defenseman of the Cowtown Guppies, the 24th pick of the draft, the longtime Cowtown Guppy member himself. He's been around all the way back since, I think, Slap 1, Season 3. If I'm not mistaken, he knows his lore. It's the man that can't stop playing Gridiron. It's Resp. Big defensive talent. Of course, Cowtown gets the exact next pick. So, if he wants to double down on threes and see which one works, this is the position to draft in. This is the spot to do it. The 25th pick could be Buff, Charles, Mace, anybody. And they could interchange whenever the time is needed. Cowtown Guppies getting the next pick as well. As doing some mulling over. A lot of talent left on the board to think about. How will this affect LeBron's legacy? The question on everybody's mind. And the answer is it won't. Going 25th overall for the Cowtown Guppies, the first pick of the 4th round. The prolific offenseman himself, Meekers. Taking his time down there on the ice, proved himself to be a bit of an asset. A lot of people overlooked him during the regular season, last season, whenever they're forming teams. They didn't really think about Meekers. He's calm, collected, he stays to himself. He doesn't really overreach into other people's, social circles. I can respect that. It's a game about skill. It's a game about talent. It's not a game about a social ladder. And Meekers, I think, is a solid pick here for the B team. I think if you were to pick up an offensive player to possibly need to sub into the Cowtown Guppy system, it would be Meekers. But I don't know if I agree with it being in the 4th round. I don't know. Of course, Az might know something I don't. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. But we'll agree to disagree. Looking at the 3rd round, here's where we were. Starting up on this 4th round of drafting. Of course, I think Grady's the biggest steal in this draft. I think the Harbor GM Reno really picked the ball up and said, hey, this is what we need to be a cup contender this season. I think Grady's the best pick here of round 3. Of course, Live Track going to the Pittsburgh Vipers. I think the vibes are going to be immaculate there. Eli, I think, had the 2nd best pick here for round 3. Going back to round 2. Kyler not going in the 1st round is a kind of a question mark to me. But going 2nd round, he's going to be teaming with Hex. I think that's going to be a great dynamic duo there for the offensive talent of the Cowtown Guppies. I think Kyler was the biggest steal of this round. Of course, Bolte. Get to see if he pans out there. I guarantee you that Cajun had something to say about Bolte down there on the ice and said, hey, just do me this one solid. Just do this one thing for me. And I think that's why Bolte's here. I'm going to be watching him with great interest here this season, like I'm Palpatine looking at Anakin. But so far here in the 4th round, right now, New England Harbor's pick. Meekers, the only person going here in the 4th round. This is the start of your B team. This is the start of the minor league affiliation for your pro franchise. Pan, Bane, Grady already have solid names on the board. Now you can pick a prospect. Now you can pick somebody to really call upon and, maybe try to use a few games this season. Maybe try to develop them a little bit farther to become a pro starter come next season or later this season. But the pick has been made. The draft has been selected. It's going 26th overall, the 2nd pick of the 4th round. The longtime Napoleon Neapolitan himself, the top goal scorer and the rookie of the season of last season. Will the QC going 26th to the New England Harbor, playing for the New England Gulls here this season. Might be the captain, might not be, but either way, he's a solid player, great offenseman, and he sure knows how to put that biscuit in the oven. Great pick here from Reno. And I know I said I'm excited. I don't mean to keep beating this dead horse of a phrase, but I feel like this draft's gone pretty good so far. Mine is like a team, maybe 2 teams. I don't know how those are going to play out. I foresee... Before going into this, my projection was there's going to be at least 3 pros. If they land on the wrong team, they're just going to quit. They're going to screw their team over, and they are not going to let this be an equal across-the-board chance of each of these teams winning the cup. And it's been narrowed down a little bit. It hasn't been 5 players that I think are going to, have a possibility of stepping out, the majority of a chance of stepping out. But it's at least 2 right now. I don't know how much weight to put on that cookie. Right now, the GTA Turtles up for the draft pick, starting off their B team. 27th pick of the season 14 draft. He's a man that not a lot of pro players know about. He's not a player that a lot of challenger players know about. He played last season for the Los Angeles Comets. He's been the understudy of Laugh Track for quite some time. I think he's going to have a lot to offer for this B team, maybe even the A team. A lot of these fourth-round draft picks might be just promoted up into the major league starters. But going 27th overall to the GTA Turtles, it is Tweak. Great stick handler, very poised with the puck. Got a lot of expectations for him here this season. I think it's going to be exciting to see what he has for us down there on the ice and see how the cookie crumbles for the GTA Turtles. Up next, Toronto Templars getting the next pick here in the 4th round, the 28th pick of the draft. They're picking the one, the only, the Charles. They're diversifying their portfolio a little bit. They got a lot of great defensemen on this roster. Between Chris and Charles, you can interchange those two. Depending on who you're going up against, who you're fighting against, you can really just say, do we want a puck-moving defenseman, or do we want a guy that can hunker down and save 40 shots a game? Between Charles and Chris, they can both deliver that for both Spills and Milk, being offensive geniuses whenever it comes to drawing up the plays in the O-zone. Milk, one of the dirtiest angles. I think it's been 5 seasons in a row. He's been the dirtiest angles in the Slapshot Premier League. Chris, solid goaltender. Charles, great defenseman. This is a fours roster right here. Nobody has the same play style. Nobody has the same position. They specialize in their own unique ways. I feel like Spinach he's done a heck of a job of drafting here this season. And he's got one of the most diverse and unique roster combinations that you could have. You know, like if Spills is in here, Charles is a great neutral zone defender. Just stick him up there. As long as you can pass it to Milk and Milk can hit the net, that's a great formula to win a game. But up next, for the Napoleon Neapolitans, starting off their B team, the 29th pick of the draft. A lot of big talent left on the board. Buff being the top name, projected to go 20th. We are now at the 29th. Pissy Yankee, projected to be 25. Jabu, 25 as well. Fuico down at 26. Snipes, 29. Soccer Boy EJ, top goal scorers alike. Selecting in spot number 29 of the Season 14 draft. Here in the 4th round for the Napoleon Neapolitans. The longtime defenseman, one of the greatest puck handlers I've seen in the Slapshot Premier League. Used to be known as B-Ford. It is Buff. If any of the Neapolitans ever go out with an illness, Buff's going to be the guy. Great pick. I feel like that's an absolute solid pick. Buff can play any position. He's a utility player. He can go anywhere, do anything. He's just a guy that slaps around. You know what I'm saying? So far here this season, at least the past few seasons, he hasn't played pro recently at a high level. But when he does play pro, he does take it serious. He does grind with his boys. And he does look to get better. He's a player that's looking for improvement, not looking to play with his buddies. And Buff being picked up by the Neapolitans. Huge pick here tonight by Archie Klumper and Noah. The dynamic duo that's heading the front office for the boys in teal here this season. And, yeah, good pick. Good pick. Right now, we still got a lot of talent left on this board. We got a lot of skill left to pick from. Pisiyanki, Jabu, Fuico, projected to be the next picks here for the draft. Whether or not that is going to happen, we're coming up to the hands of later end of this 4th round. It's really up in the air who's going to be picked up, who's going to be left on the board here for the start of the season. Of course, Brooklyn Bandits getting the last pick of the 4th round. But they're sitting solid. They're sitting solid. There's a lot of big names left on the board. Walser's still out there. Bangold, X, the former New Jersey noob himself, out there. X, also known as Bing Bong. But right now, Eli is on the clock for the Pittsburgh Vipers. Gubby, Doug, Oro, Doobie still out there. There's a lot of West names that nobody's really touched quite yet. Soccer Boy EJ, Fuico, Pediatric Patrick, just to name a few of them. Oro, one of the longtime Edmonton Beauty starters. Made his career mostly in the Challenger Division, known to East. But right here, right now, Eli's got a decision to make. 30th overall. The 6th pick, if I'm not mistaken. Is that mathing out? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's whatever. Where's the later end of the 4th round? Eli wanted to diversify. Wanted to have more boys to hang out with. Just another bro on a Saturday. This man's a very great utility player. He moves the puck like nobody else. He's great at art. I am his understudy in Blender. Even though I haven't asked him any questions. Anybody that has asked me a Blender question, I just push him off to this man. Does a heck of a job on the ice, off the ice. For the 30th overall pick for the Pittsburgh Vipers, Bangled is now wearing the blue sweater with the red accents going down there, showing the boys down in the Pittsburgh Pythons. What's up? Maybe be a bit of a role model down there to develop the understudies of the Pro Division. Solid pick from Eli here with this one. I don't think there's a better pick on the board. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Eli hit this one out of the park. I feel like the cards that he was holding, if I was to make a pick in Eli's shoes, I'd have done the same. Unless I was picking Wallster, then I would pick Wallster. But, my 2 cents, I'm just the commentator. Right now, the highest projected remaining on the board, Pissy Yonki, Jabu, Fuiko, Snipes, Soccer Boy EJ, Wallster, Bing Bong, formerly known as X, Cheese Pup, Mace. Mace is still on the board. There's a team out there that needs a 3. Mace might be the answer, if it gets to him. If it gets to them. But I'm just going to leave that there. I think the GMs are listening to this. There's no way they're not. We'll see how much of the influence I really have on this draft by just saying words. How many people trust the Darth Taxil opinion? How has Jabu not been picked yet? I don't know, Laugh Track. I just don't think people trust him like that. He is a mouse and keyboard player, which I feel like takes him down a notch, but not 2. There's a lot of OGs left on the board. Like Green hasn't been picked yet. Somebody pointed out in chat. Wait, Green pointed that out in chat? Green, you're funny. Don't change. I can't believe it. I cannot. I feel like I just got ligma'd. But the next pick, going 31st overall, the second to last pick of the 4th round. The first names being added to the B teams. A lot of great names on the board still. So many great names on the board. Do you want to start with a defenseman? Do you want to start with an offenseman here for your B team? What does your A team really need to pull up? There's not any glory to be made by winning the minor league division. The minor league. Just the minor league. I don't know how to say that. But there's no fortune or fame there. You got to win the majors. That's what people care about. Who cares about who won the AHL playoffs? I mean, nobody talks about that. They talk about the NHL. But going 31st overall, the second to last pick here in the 4th round, going to the Pennsylvania Ballpeen Hammers. He's packing his bags. He's moving out to the East Coast. The longtime Pacific Cup winner, Fuiko. The most West chips in any player in SPL history, unless Blue has it. It has to be one of those two. I have not fact-checked anything I said tonight. I've just spit the information I think is correct out of my mouth. Take everything with a grain of salt. But Fuiko, one of the best players left on the board, knows how to goal score with the best of them. Played for the Vienna Sausages last season, maybe the season before that in the Pro Division with Wallster in the Challenger Division as well. He knows what it's like to play in Pro. I feel like after a player has played at least one season in Pro, they know what to expect. They know what the pressure is like. They know how to handle it a little bit better. Everybody's first season in Pro, they choke. They die. They just don't do well. And so having a player that's already been through that ringer, I mean, we saw it with the Kodacook Stars with D-Bon. The first season, Kodacook was up there. They did not do that great. They did all right, but they did not do, like, cup contender-worthy talents great. And over the time, they made the finals once. They made it deeper into the playoffs. They made adjustments to their roster. They all became better players. They played to improve. Fuiko is one of those players. He's got his toes wet in the Pro Division. He has had his toes wet in the Pro Division for a couple seasons now. He's got a lot of hardware to his name. And great acquisition here for the Pennsylvania Ballpeen Hammers. The last pick of the 4th round, Falls into the lap of the Brooklyn Bandits. Already have Cajun, Bolty, Crusade. One of the more dynamic rosters we've seen in the Slapshot Premier League. If I was M-Dub, I'd be looking at the goal-scoring talent left on the board. Soccer Boy EJ might be from West, might have 80 ping every game, but he is a solid goal scorer. Of course, you could go back and throw it to the oldies, sweating to it like Richard Simmons with Walster. He says he has 4 ping. I don't know if I believe that. But you never know. There's so many names on the board. It's hard to pick just one. You could go to a million different stores, or you could go to just one. And so going. 4th round to the Brooklyn Bandits, the 32nd overall pick selection. Straight out from the lips of M-Dub. It's the one, the only, the guy that's name starts with S, ends with Nipes. It's Snipes. Congratulations. Best of luck here this season. And do a quick overview of the rounds so far. First round, Asian going to Brooklyn, Zesh going to PA, Yager going to Pittsburgh, Meow going to Napoli, Milk to Toronto, Blue to GTA, Panarin going to the boys in the navy blue, picking the Clappers colors. I don't know if that was intentional by Reno, but they do have the Columbus Clappers colors. For the New England Harbor, Hex to the Guppies. Second round, the picks reversed. Here they are. I still feel like Spills, if Spills works out, he is the best pick here this round. Of course, Kyler, one of the all-time greats, already a given. But I'm talking about a player that is going to exceed his value in his draft pick. Round 3. Everybody diversifying their portfolio. I think Reno won this round. I think Grady is a huge sleeper pick that nobody talks about. Laugh Track going to Pittsburgh is going to be the rock and foundation that their offense is built upon. A lot of pressure on Laugh Track's plate. Knowing him and his personality, he's not going to feel any of it. And he's just going to go out there and he's going to play Slapshot. They win, they lose. Does not matter. He's here for a good time, not a long time. And of course, we just finished the 4th round. If you're just tuning in, Meekers, Will the QC, Tweak, Charles, Buff, Bangled, Fuico, Snipes, in that order. Their respective teams. But starting this next round, round 5. We only got 2 rounds left here in the draft. Brooklyn Bandits up first. A lot of names still left on the board. A lot of things to be thought about. A lot of decisions to mull over. So for the 33rd overall pick, the first of round 5. He's only been banned once, I think. Unless we count his alts. He's only been banned 33 times. But that's water under the bridge. He's a great Slapshot player. Played a lot of lower division games. Trying to bring up the prospects of the Slapshot Premier League to be more fortuitous. Try to make them better. Try to coach them through the mental game of the Slapshot Pro League. But now, he's making his return to the Pro Division to play for the Brooklyn Bandits in their B team. Maybe make his way up to the A team if needed. He's a great 3, great puck mover. It's the one, the only, the man that wears the cone on his head. It's Timmy. At the same, I think he's had the same profile picture on the SPL website since the beginning of his career. It's always been Trainer Buddy. And I can't explain to you why or his connection to that. That's just where his heart lies. Great pick by M-Dub. He was sweating it to the oldies a little bit different than I thought he would. Timmy is an OG player. He's been around at least a year longer than I have. I can tell you that much. The golden pick. Golden pick. Second round. Or second overall pick. Pulling it down. Round 5 is just a normal draft order. There's a lot of talent still left on the board. Between Fuico, I think, depending on this draft, Cherries has the ability to do something special. And I don't know if he will. But I'm not going to say anything. I'm not influencing the draft in any way. I'm not throwing out any coin terms. I should have put a stream delay on this. But either way. Going 34th in the Season 14 Pro Division draft. The man that's into football, but like American. I don't know how to summarize this guy's career. I have like 9 different routes I want to go, so I'm just going to say his name. The Westford native, Soccer Boy EJ, going 34th overall here for the Pennsylvania Ball Peen Hammers. kicking it with his Westie. If they can find a way to keep the B team entirely Western natives, I think it's going to be immense amounts of fun for them to play in the minor league this season. I think if Cherries can pull this off, it'd be huge ups. It'd be huge ups for him. Whether or not somebody spoils it, I mean, that's still to be determined. I mean, Pediatric Patrick, Oro, still on the board here, Western natives. Kick it down a little bit more, you find a few more names. But feeling all right. But up next, the pick on the clock right now is Eli with the Pittsburgh Vipers. He's got the 35th pick of the draft. The pick is in. I don't know how to summarize this guy's career either. I really don't. He's a solid player. I have played this guy, I think, once or twice in SPL history. It wasn't last season. It was the season before that, whenever he was down in Prospect. I played his team, and I think we got spanked. I don't remember entirely. We probably did if I don't remember it, because I just blocked that out of my mind entirely. He's great. He's one of the harder players to bump off the puck. I think I would equate him to Pip Starlather if I was to compare him to another slapshot player of a similar mindset and grind set. But going 35th overall in the 5th round to the Pittsburgh Vipers, Eli selects the top elite to be his second man on the B team. Pittsburgh Pythons looking pretty stacked right now. It's got to be said, got to be noted. Bangled, kind of the captain of the B team. Top elite, hard man to hit off the puck. I don't know if it matters who their third man's going to be. I mean, people still on the board right now. Pissy Yonke, Jabu, Wallister, Bing Bong, formerly known as X from New Jersey. Cheese Pup, Mace, Gubby, Doug, Oro, Doobie, Pediatric Patrick, Disruption. Leon still on the board. Slippin' Johnny, Tovik, Rev, Rocky Bo, Derek. There's a lot of names. Carried by Dad, still on the board. A lot of questions still up in the air. Right now, the pick is in Napoli's court. They have Buff for their B team, who will be pick 36 of the draft. A lot of chances, a lot of ideas, a lot of ability out there. And going 36th overall to the Napoli Neapolitans in the 5th round. The selection has been made. The captain of the Philadelphia Piglets. Former captain, I should say. He's been in pro longer than I think most of you have been alive, assuming all of you are like 4 in the chat. But going 36th overall to the Napoli Neapolitans. His name starts with W, ends with Ulster. It's Walster. Congratulations, Walster. 5th round. Be training up the young guns. He knows his way in. He knows his way out of the hockey locker room. He knows what's important to an SPL team. He knows what's important to a slapshot team, how to win games. He's been around for a hot second. His know-how is 5th to a few. But a good pick there by the Napoli Neapolitans. If you're going to have a guy that is going to coach a younger player, it is Walster. Who their last pick might be, up in the air. How many of the games Walster will be starting here this season for Napoli? Up in the air, same with Buff. Starting for the minor league. Of course, you still have the guy 7. You have your minor league only player after the draft is over. They can submit their waiver claims in through an SPL ticket. But every player, every team, every franchise has 7 roster spots to work with. 3 starters for the major, 3 starters for the minor, then 1 extra spot that can only play in the minor league. So after this is over, they still have another decision to make if they want to make that decision. Yeah, good pick here in the 5th round. Also a big name that's lasted a lot longer in this draft than I expected him to. Fallen into the lap of the Napoli Neapolitans, but right now it's the Toronto Templars on the clock with Spinach. They already have Milk, Spills, and Chris as their A-team. Charles, the first sub going up into that system. They already have their foundation set. I feel like they have their 4 main pro players, and they can continue to widen their depth chart here with this next pick. A few players still left on the board. It's Pissy Yonke, Jabu, Bing Bong, Cheese Pup, Mace, Gubby, Doug, Oro, Doobie, Pediatric Patrick, Disruption, Leon. And Spinach has made a selection, going 37th overall here in the Season 14 draft. The former New Jersey noob himself, formerly known as X, it's Bing Bong. Congratulations, Bing Bong. Wish you fame and fortune here with the boys in yellow. All 5 of these players, if we were not doing draft, all 5 of these players are a pro starter. I think Spinach has the strongest draft so far. In terms of depth chart, of course, only 3 of these players can play a game at a time. But from the depth chart, no matter who gets knocked out, who leaves, they have a good lineup. That's something that's really hard to work out as a GM. And Spinach is hit this part. He's hit it out of the park so far here this offseason. But up next, the team that drafted 6th overall has the 38th pick here in the 5th round. Noxu's seeing what I'm seeing. There's one man that just kind of glares at you like a sore thumb. He's the black sheep out of the crowd right now at the start of the draft. He was kind of undervalued. A lot of people didn't even consider this guy in their mock draft. And I think that was a mistake. Going 5th round to the GTA Turtles, the Greater Toronto Area Turtles. Noxu has made the selection for the 38th pick to be the former Orlando Otter himself, Mace. Congratulations. Going 5th round. I think that's a sleeper pick. I feel like he fell down the list way farther than he should have. And I don't... It's tough to say. It's tough to say if that pick's going to pan out or not. Because all the other GMs might be seeing this a different way. All these GMs might not be thinking the way that I'm thinking. Maybe not. I don't know. But up next, the boys in the navy blue. The New England Harbor. Reno. Mulling over his options. He had a long time to sit here and think. Who am I picking next? Because there was, 13 picks between his last pick and this one. He already has a great A team. He's looking to keep it going. Picking up the Challenger 3. One of the best Challenger 3s I've seen from last season. For pick 39 of the Season 14 draft, going 5th round to the New England Harbor. He's a little slippery, but his name is Johnny. Congratulations, Slippin' Johnny. Good luck this season. Beautiful 3. Great defenseman. He was actually a little fun fact behind the scenes curtain pullback. Slippin' Johnny was one of the higher picks for the GMs this season. But he DM'd me. He said, hey, don't make me a GM unless you absolutely have to. People need to die for me to be a GM. And I think that just shows you how much he wants to play the game. And so with that drive and determination, will the QC as his offenseman, Slippin' Johnny as the defenseman. We'll see if she floats like Irish soap. The last pick of round 5. And then we'll take an ad break and do round 6. Kyler Resp Meekers out there for the Cowtown Guppies. Who will be pick 4 or pick 5 and 6. As we wait, going over the 4th round or the 5th round so far, I feel like I'm living in the past here. I can't believe we're already on the 5th round. I expected this to take way longer than what it has. Right now, the players that are looking to develop being considered massively here tonight, as I said before, the minor league are just a little farm team for talent to wait around, improve, stay sharp for whenever their time comes to playing pro. And so, the pick is in. The 40th overall pick for the Cowtown Guppies as has made the selection of the person that Eli simps over. It's Rev, my dream journal buddy. May Shaq not destroy you this season. That's all I'll say to this. But that will be the 5th round. Taking a look at the 5th round here before we go to an ad break. Timmy going first, Soccer Boy EJ 2nd, Top Elite 3rd, Walster 4th to Napoleon Neapolitans, Bing Bong, formerly known as X from New Jersey, going 37th overall to the Toronto Templars. Mace going to the GTA Turtles. I can't believe he made it to round 5. Slippin' Johnny from the Challenge Division, 39th pick by Reno. And of course, Rev going to the Cowtown Guppies to further diversify their portfolio. Well, that being said, we got to pay to keep the lights on, so I'll be right back after the short ad break. This music sucks. Welcome back. Finish up the 5th round of picks. We have one more round to go. My name is Darth Texil. Welcome back to the SPL Network headquarters. A lot of picks in the books. A lot of picks to go. Doing a brief overview of the team so far. You can see the rosters behind me flick through. Cowtown Guppies might have a rough season here this time around. I don't know if those personalities are going to clash with each other. Don't know if they're going to mesh with each other. Don't know how much they're going to play with each other to practice and get that chemistry needed to be a competitive team in pro. I think PA. I think New England. I think Toronto have the best roster so far. If I wanted to hang out with people, it'd be that roster, though. That's my leisure group. Eli's built a great vibe locker room. But to continue with our final round of draft picks, going in reverse order from the original order. Kicking it down to the Cowtown Guppies for their final pick of the Season 14 draft, going 41st overall here tonight. Another wild card. Love to see it. Love to see it. Very interested to see what this guy's going to do here this season. No idea how this card is going to fall. But it could be fortuitous. Longtime Quebec Flair. Used to play for the Knoxville Kittens before they disbanded. But his name, not many people are going to recognize here. He does not have a very prolific idea, conception in the Pro Division. Is going to be a strictly development player, I feel, unless, you know, he pops off a little bit. But if he's good enough to make it to the Knoxville Kittens roster, he's good enough to play in the Pro Division, in my opinion. But for the 41st pick of the draft, the first round, or the first of the 6th round, for the Cowtown Guppies, as has selected Mokai from the Quebec Flair. He won the championship back in Season 8. We'll see if he can win the Pro Championship here in Season 14. That is the end of the Cowtown picks. That is their roster for their major and minor league team. Will be interesting to see how this really plays out. They got a solid offense. I think the only thing they might, you know, have to figure out is the defensive side of the aspect. Only time will tell how this roster will do in the Pro Division. Up next, drafting second in round 6, Reno on the clock for the 42nd pick. This guy has been around the league for quite some time. Originally playing for the Montreal Popes. Back in, I think it was Season 1. I could be wrong. It could have been Season 2. But either way, Season 1, Season 2 of Rebound. This guy's been around for every season since. Whether or not he played, he was still active in the community. And for the 42nd pick, the last pick for the New England Harbor starting lineup, the original 6 players for the boys in the blue. To cap it off for the pick, he might be from Las Vegas. I don't know if he's a Las Vegas fan or not. But going 42nd, it is Golden Knight. I think both these rosters are solid. I feel like both these rosters, in their selective like pro and challenger-esque skill sets, I feel like they're both solid. I don't think either of these lineups have a gap in their defense. Especially with Will the QC, the goal scorer, and their B team. Golden Knight, Slip and Johnny both knowing how to play 3. They can interchange between the two. Which one's feeling better, which one's feeling worse that night. They got some diversity. They got some flexibility in their lineup. And I think Reno's done a great job at drafting here this season. With only 5 picks left in the draft. Am I right? With only 6 picks left in the draft, GTA Turtles are next on the clock. I already have Tweak and Mace out there on the board. I don't. The way the picks have fallen here for the GTA Turtles, I'm not sure who's starting in the major league and who's starting in the minor league, because I feel like you can kind of switch any name in and out, and they'd have like the same like amount of output. Binoxio has made his selection for the 43rd pick of the draft, the last pick for the GTA Turtles. He's been around the league as long as Dave has. His counterpart, going 43rd in the draft, a 6th rounder, Derek. Congratulations. Good luck on the GTA Turtles here this season. Derek, of course, playing the 1, for those of you not super up to speed on the lore of Derek. He's the guy that got wheezed on by Carl Weezer. Just look at the pins in lobby chat. That's all you really need to know about Derek. I feel like that's his whole career. But no, he's been around since the very first season of SPL, back in the placement season. Played for the Boston Barrage, 14 games in that season, and did a heck of a job. I think he had 41 points during that stint. And I think he's played every season since then. I don't think he's dropped the ball once. So this will be his 19th season in a row playing in the SPL. Might only be his 18th. Depends on who you ask, really. Does the placement season back in Slap 1 count as a regular season? If no, it's 18. If yes, it's 19. I say it's 19. But someone's going to debate me on that. I guarantee it. He even played in the reseeding tournament, which a lot of people just did not have an interest in. The pick so far here in round 6. Okai Golden Knight Derek. Up next, Toronto Templars with the 4th pick of the 6th round. cycle through the rounds beforehand, before he announced his pick. Get an idea of where we're at right now. Players still on the board right now. Pissy Yonky, Jaboo, Cheese Pup, Gubby. But they have 5 great players. I think all these 5 players could start any pro division game. With how the rosters were this season, there's not a doubt in my mind that all 5 of these players could have found a starting spot on any roster that they wanted. And so with the 6th pick for the Toronto Templars, I thought he was an alt whenever he joined the league. I'm not going to lie to you. Projected as the 42nd pick of the draft, going 44th, falling a few notches in the belt. One of the top talents to go out there and do it, and do it well, might I add. 44th in the Season 14 draft, picked by Spinach. The one, the only, Doobie will be wearing a Toronto Templars sweater here this season. Best of luck. This is your roster. This is your roster for the Toronto Templars. I think this roster has the highest chance at winning the Cup. Mark my words here. Mark my words now. If everybody on this list plays with each other to the best of their ability, and there is no locker room toxicity, this is the roster. I might be wrong, though. There's a lot that can happen in a season. There's a lot that can happen. People go on vacation. Some people don't. Some people go to school. Some people don't. Will be a fun one regardless. Coming up next, Neapolitans have the floor. Archie's on the clock. Here's the draft picks so far here. Derek, Doobie, Dave. Ooh. There's a few other disruption. Will we keep the D trend going? But the 4th last pick of the draft. Wanting a little bit more defensive effort out there on the ice. A solid pick. A great guy. I've hung out with him a few times. I don't say that about a lot of people in the SPL. But if I was to hang out and vibe out with this guy, it would be with Helldivers. And we would be, crying by the end of it. But either way, the 45th pick of the Season 14 draft to the Neapolitans in the 6th round. Doug, congratulations. Best of luck here this season. And we keep the D-name trend going. Taking a look back at round 6 so far. Derek, Doobie, Doug, Dave. It has to be. It has to be. Disruption, maybe? But with the 46th pick, Eli's got a lot of talent left on the board. He could pick literally anybody and be fine. I have faith in him. But with Bengal top elite, you already have like your defense offense filled out. You just got to find a middle of the road guy. Maybe somebody that can coach a few of the younger players, have the patience for that. But for pick 46 of the draft, Eli has selected one of the original Colorado Cobras that made that push up to pro with the Carolina Cardinals before they rebranded into the Cobras. For the 46th pick in the 6th round, going to the Pittsburgh Vipers. To keep the D trend going, it's Drakibo. You see what I did? That was Eli's joke. I'm sorry. Eli's so funny. With only 2 picks left in the draft, there's still a lot of talent left on the board. Cheese Pups up there. Gubby, Oro, Pediatric Patrick, Disruption, Leon, Tovik. Carried by Dad, Green, Cape, High Flyer, Dave. Cal is up there. Bravo team. Jakey. Avs. Jaskin. Jaskin's still in the talent pool. Can't believe that the Cowtown Guppies passed up on his mastermind. But up next, Pennsylvania Ballpeen Hammers. They have themselves pick 47, the second to last pick of the draft. Last will be the Brooklyn Bandits after them. And then we'll all go home. Cherry's on the clock right now. Will he do something special? What will he do? Everyone sits there anticipating. They paid for the whole seat, only need the edge. Ooh. Oh, with the pick in. Pick 47. The last pick to cap off the Pennsylvania Ball Peen Hammer starters. Joining Fuico, Soccer Boy EJ on the Pennsylvania Screwdrivers in the Home Depot parking lot. It's the longtime slap shot player. It is Jabu. Congratulations, Jabu. Great pick. I don't know how he went this far into the draft. He was projected 25th. And he has fallen to 47th. Maybe it's a personality thing. Maybe it's not. Bissianchi was projected 24th. He's still on the board. He might stay there. It'd be a huge pass up for the Brooklyn Bandits. Snipes, Timmy, already have your offenseman, already have your defenseman. I think Snipes is a diversity player, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody confirm or deny that for me. Snipes, I know him to be a 3, but if you're a 3, he can play anywhere. It's not an issue. Timmy's the same way. Timmy knows how to play up. He knows how to play back. I think Timmy is native the 3 on this B team. Well, you could just pick like a challenger guy, like Cal, or Vice, or Papa Nut. But how's the locker room gonna feel? You gotta weigh that as well. What's the last pick of the draft? Here's round 6 right now. Okai going to the Cowtown Guppies. New England picking up Golden Knight. GTA picking up Derek. Toronto with Doobie. Napoli with Doug. Pittsburgh with Rocky Bow. Pennsylvania with Jabu. I don't even think Meat Sale's on this list. I guarantee it. I would have noticed. No, Meat Sale's not on this list. And so, this is the only player on this list that I did research for prior to this draft. And coincidentally, the last time he played in the Slapshot Premier League, it was for this team. Whenever we had the 6v6 season. And he did a heck of a job. After that season, he played Challenger with the Boston Barrage. 44 points, 14 goals in his 13 games played. For going from open to challenger, he's done fabulously. He also teamed with Blades back in season 10? It was whatever the season, the 6v6 season was happening. He played on the Sixes team with the Brooklyn Barrage. He played on the 3v3 side with Blades and the Michigan Mallards. And to go from open to challenger is a very hard task. D-Bon had to do it, technically. Skipping a few divisions because of the play of the Michigan Mafia back in the day. But going in pick 48, the last pick of the draft, promised a spot on the Brooklyn Bandits. Been around for a little bit. He's a newer age guy, looking for a little direction in his slapshot career. Pick 48 goes to Avs. Congratulations, going last round of the draft. Something that the vast majority, have will not be able to say. But with that being said, we're done here. Everything's been decided. So the glance over the teams, the rounds, how the evening went. Good stuff. There's still a chance. Anybody that wasn't drafted, I know we had a lot of talent left on the board. Pissianki, Cheese Pup, Gubby, Oro, Pediatric Patrick, Disruption, Leon, Tovik. Carried by Dad. Green wasn't drafted. I don't know how. I thought he was going to go first round. It's going to be straight shooting with you. Dave's still up there. Cal's still up there. Young Buck not drafted. Papa Nut not drafted. Bravo team. Jakey. All solid players. I think, depending on the full extent of how the keepers work, there's just a lot. There's a lot of different ways this can fall. Well, with 102 players in the draft pool, 51 were not selected and are available for the waiver claims starting tomorrow. Each of these teams can select a 7th member of their roster that can only play in the minor league division. But with that role also comes they can play outside of the pro division as well. So they don't have to leave their team to play for the minor league as a sub. Yeah, we have everybody starting 3 for the major and their minor league affiliate. I think it's been pretty even. I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea who's winning this championship. This is the first time in, I think, 7 seasons. I have no idea who's going to win. Every season, you can sit down, look at the paper, and think, this team's going to the finals, and this team's going to the finals. This season, you can't really do that, which is huge. But I think Toronto has by far the best depth chart. They have 1 prime goal scorer. They have 1 prime defenseman down there in their defensive zone. Or just down there on the ice, on their practice squad. And I think they're going to have the easiest time here this season. Trying to find games scheduled. Trying to find, availability that aligns. But there's been a lot of great picks. There's been a lot of interesting picks as well. Going back through the rounds. Cajun going first overall. Zesh second to the PA Hammers. Yager going 3rd to the Pittsburgh Vipers. Meow going 4th to the Napoleon Neapolitans. Milk going 5th to the Toronto Templars. And 6th to the GTA Turtles, we have Blue. 7th, picked by Reno. For the New England Harbor, we have Panarin. And then for the Cowtown Guppies in the 8th spot is Hex. Second round reversed. Tyler going to Cowtown. Bay to New England. Someone to GTA. Spills to Toronto. Noah to Napoli. Kotor to Pittsburgh. I am 4 ahead to Pennsylvania. Bolte to Brooklyn. I did get confirmation that Cajun and MW were in VC. Kind of talking to each other. What do they want to pick? Who do they want to have? Which is, I think, a really smart move. I think if a GM would sit in a call for the draft with their first overall pick, they can guarantee that they're going to be happy with the team. Because then it's a joint partnership and not just one guy's opinion on what might work and what might not. Well, for round 3, going back to the normal draft format, as it was in the lottery, Crusade going to Brooklyn, Chef a J-Man Boy going to Pennsylvania, Laugh Track going to Pittsburgh for their 3, Hero to Napoli, Chris LOL to Toronto, Seaman to GTA, Grady to New England, and Resp, the final player on the Cowtown Guppies starting Major League roster. The draft reverse is here for round 4. Meekers first for Cowtown, Will the QC for New England, Tweak for GTA, Charles for Toronto, Buff for Napoli, Bangled for Pittsburgh, Fuico for Pennsylvania, and Snipes for Brooklyn. Round 5, the normal draft order once again. Timmy going to Brooklyn, Soccer Boy EJ to Pennsylvania, the Top Elite going to Pittsburgh, Walster for Napoli, Bing Bong for Toronto, Ace for GTA, Slippin' Johnny for New England, and Rev going to Cowtown. Then for the last round of the draft, Mokai to Cowtown, Golden Knight to New England, Derek to GTA, Doobie to Toronto, Doug to Napoli, Rocky Bow to Pittsburgh, Doobie to Pennsylvania, and Avs, the final pick of the draft, guaranteed a spot on the Brooklyn Bandits roster. I think that's it. I feel like I've talked enough. I feel like I've shouted my opinion at you for at least an hour now, 2 hours now. As it's nearing 9 o'clock here on the East Coast of America. But I think that's all we got for you. Thank you, Gubby, for the 5 gifted sub. Hope you're having a great day. Appreciate that. Thank you, Ocho, for the 5 bits. Kotor, thank you for the sub during this broadcast. Ivan Jones, I see you out there. You're having a great day as well. Best of luck in Challenger this season. I saw you guys were picking up a questionable name on your Challenger team, and that's all I'm going to say. Just be wary of him. He might be a good guy, but he might not be. Justin Bakesy, thank you for the sub. Thank you for gifting a sub to the community. Nate Dog, thank you for the $5. Justin Bakesy, thank you for the sub. Gubby says, I love Darth. I love you. It's not gay, though. I have socks on. Are you wearing socks? Gubby, thank you for the 32 months. I can't believe I've been streaming that long. Noah, thank you for the sub. Noxu, thank you for the sub. Ocho, thank you for the 5 and 7 bits. Appreciate you all. That is 5 and 7 bits, right? All right, they come up purple on my activity feed, so I thought it was 700. I'm thinking there's no way. There's not a shot that was real. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Keeping the lights on here in SPL. If you want to stick around and support, you don't have money, watch an ad. We had a chunk of that change. But I think that's it for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching the draft with me. Thank you for the guys that watched the draft lottery last night. It's a very strange time we live in the Slapshot Premier League history. Thank you, Eli, for the sub. See you. Yeah. We're all here to witness history. Who's going to win the cup this season? I don't know. This is the first time I don't know who's going to win. It could be any of these teams. Maybe not that one. Me and Kyler have beef. That's where the beef is. But I'm going to go to bed. Thank you guys for tuning in. Excited to see everybody on the ice here start of tomorrow. Good night. Hope you all have a great afternoon, a great evening, and a great night.